The last undefeated in the Blue League goes down. A fan favorite stays alive, and future opponents have an interesting discussion before the most anticipated match of the tournament. It's all coming your way inside the Continental Classic. Hello everyone, I'm Matt Camp, and we're coming down the stretch of wrestling's best tournament with all 4 spots still up for grabs in the Continental Classic semifinals at World's End. We begin this week with updates from the Gold League. Let's take you back to the Winter is Coming edition of Dynamite, starting with a first-time ever matchup between Ricochet and Brody King, both of whom sat at 3 points looking up at Claudio Castagnoli and his 6 points on top of the Gold League table. As expected, this was a fantastic clash of styles, with King using his power to cut off the speed and agility of Ricochet on multiple occasions, including a brutal chop to wreck a springboard attempt. However, Ricochet would bounce back with an innovative DDT on the top turnbuckle, and followed that with a pair of spirit guns for the win. That brings us to the Dynamite main event, with the Death Riders' Claudio Castagnoli trying to recapture sole possession of first in the Gold League against the aerial assassin, Will Ospreay. This was only the second meeting between the two, as Ospreay won the initial battle back in April. Castagnoli has taken on a far more aggressive style since then, and it was on full display in this rematch, much to the chagrin of Ospreay, who met the steel steps the hard way in what looked like the turning point of the match. With Claudio seemingly in control and on his way to victory, he set up for the neutralizer, but it was quickly reversed into a jackknife pin and a stunning win for Ospreay. The loss wasn't taken well, with Castagnoli attacking Ospreay post-match, only for Darby Allin to make the save as Dynamite came to a close. After Dynamite, Ospreay chased down Allin to thank him for the save. Darby took the opportunity to recruit Ospreay to join his crusade against the Death Riders, which Ospreay would deny for the time being, as he remains focused on winning the Continental Classic, although he promised his support to Allin upon completion of the tournament.
So I tell you this, as a man, as someone that actually respects you, fam. I respect everything that you're doing for AEW, but I need this more than anything. But afterwards, after this is done, knock on my door. If you need someone in the foxhole with you, lad, I'm going, you know I am. I appreciate what you've done, Abby. We'll see you next week.
Before we get to that match, let's take a look at the Gold League standings after Week 3. Claudio Castagnoli no longer alone in first place, as he's now joined by the man who defeated him on Dynamite, Will Ospreay, and Ricochet at 6 points. Brody King and Darby Allin come in behind them at 3, and Commander remains at 0. Now let's take a look at some upcoming Gold League matchups. On the Holiday Bash Dynamite, we'll see potential future allies meet for the first time in a dream match. Darby Allin needs to put all the outside distractions with the Death Riders aside if he wants to create a logjam on top of the Gold League, while Will Ospreay tries to remain undefeated despite clearly not being at 100%. It's the most anticipated match of the Continental Classic. The aerial assassin, Will Ospreay, versus Darby Allin this Wednesday on the Holiday Bash Dynamite. And on the Holiday Bash Rampage, Commander looks to end his first Continental Classic on a high note against Big Bad Brody King, with King trying to get back on track after consecutive tournament losses. Let's head over to the Winter is Coming edition of Collision for the Week 3 Blue League matches. The Continental Champion, Kazuchika Okada, was coming off what some believe was an upset loss to Kyle Fletcher. But would he be able to get back in the win column when he took on the Beast Mortos? Okada had control early and seemed to be wrestling a bit angrier, perhaps still upset about the previous week. But the tides turned when Mortos used his unique combination of athleticism and power to get back into the match. However, Okada took control once again, thanks to his patented beautiful dropkick, and put Mortos away with the Rainmaker to move to 7 points. Later on Collision, the undefeated leader of the Blue League, the proto-star Kyle Fletcher, had a chance to punch his ticket to World's End and the Continental Classic semifinals, if he could knock off Mark Briscoe. Briscoe was looking to build momentum coming off his impressive win over TNT champion Daniel Garcia in the previous week. It was a battle of controlling your own destiny for Fletcher versus Briscoe trying to stay alive, and it went right down to the wire. Amazingly, a Jay Driller in the final minute was good enough for what Tony Khan called a Briscoe buzzer beater and a big shakeup to the Blue League standings. Let's take a look. Despite his loss, Kyle Fletcher remains on top of the Blue League with 9 points. Kazuchika Okada, the Continental Champion, is in second with 7. Mark Briscoe's second win in as many weeks gets him to 6. Daniel Garcia was idle, so he's at 4, as was Shelton Benjamin, who stays at 3. And the Beast Mortost is at 0 points. The Collision main event certainly made the Blue League a bit more unpredictable. Kyle Fletcher can still clinch a spot in the Continental Classic semifinals with a win in his upcoming final league match with Daniel Garcia. Mark Briscoe not only stayed alive with his victory over Fletcher, but because of that win, he holds an important tiebreaker that could help him not only make it to the semifinals, but also win the league. Let's take a look at what we have upcoming in the Blue League. Shelton Benjamin gets back to work against the spoiler-driven Beast Mortos. Can the Hurt Syndicate's standard of excellence handle the horns of a beast? And in addition to the continuation of the Continental Classic, the AEW Holiday Bash episode of Dynamite will bring us a TBS Championship showdown as the CEO, Mercedes Moné, defends against Anna Jay. Plus, 2/3 of the AEW Trios champions, Pac and Wheeler Yuta, alongside AEW World Champion Jon Moxley, face Moxley's opponents at World's End: Switchblade Jay White, freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, and Hangman Adam Page. And ahead of his match at World's End with Adam Cole for the Dynamite Diamond Ring, we'll hear from MJF live in Washington, D.C. at the Events and Sports Arena. Be there by visiting AEWTix.com and catch it all on TBS on Wednesday night at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Did you ask Santa to see the best wrestle? Then check out what we have in store for the Continental Classic at Christmas Collision. In the latest chapter of their history-altering rivalry, Will Ospreay and Ricochet run it back in the Hammerstein Ballroom. And this will be Ricochet's debut in the iconic venue. Being in the same league only gives them another reason to fight. Darby Allin and Claudio Castagnoli have been battling for months, everywhere. But on Saturday, they do it in the ring with 3 key points up for grabs, although both men might be looking for more than that. A battle of generations comes to the Continental Classic. The standard of excellence, Shelton Benjamin, has had some of the best debuting months in AEW history, but he's yet to run into the TNT champion, Daniel Garcia. That meeting finally happens this Saturday at the Hammerstein Ballroom. In addition to Holiday Bash, Dynamite, and Rampage, you can join us this weekend for Christmas Collision, Dynamite on 34th Street, and New Year's Smash at the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City, before we head to Orlando, Florida for World's End. Come see where the best wrestle by visiting AEWTix.com. Stay tuned for further updates on the closing stretch of the Continental Classic on all of AEW's social outlets. I'm Matt Camp, and I'll see you next time on Inside the Continental Classic. As always, enjoy wrestling's best tournament.